Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 62nd Rome Total War Brotherhood battle that I've put onto YouTube. The Brotherhood team today consists of Brotherhood member Conan. Conan and another RTW player called Cannon were the two founders of the Brotherhood back in January 2005, and I must say they set a very firm foundation for this clan, as the Brotherhood's still going well today. So really well done to both Conan and Cannon on that. And Conan's teammates are Brotherhood member Mystique, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction, and Brotherhood member Pompey, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction, and Brotherhood member Spartan Leonidas, who has also bought the SBQR faction. So that's a Brotherhood team there, full of experience and really good players. But you wait till you see the other team. I think this will be a great battle to watch. At this stage of the battle, I thought you might like to look at one of Conan's unusual formations here. This is 18 urban cohorts here and 2 cavalry. That's the army that he's bought here. If you notice that this formation that he uses has been nicknamed by some players as the fan formation. As you see, because it's like, if you open a fan, it kind of shaped a bit like that. And this is a very strong formation. If you look at the units, can you see how thick each unit is? They're not spread out wide, but they're very thick. Can you see the lines of soldiers one behind the other? And each unit is very close to the other, kind of lending support to each other, and the generals at the back giving morale to the whole formation. But also, if you notice, this is also a really great defensive formation, but also can be used as a good attack formation too, because you could peel off 3 units from each side, for instance, to do a flanking attack on an enemy in front of you, and the defense is still great with this formation. And here is the other team. We have Heaven member Demon, who has bought the Rome Scipii faction. We have RTW player Satan, who has bought the Rome Julio faction, but I believe Satan is in a clan now. And then we have COH Phaleg, who has also bought the Rome Julio faction. And then we have Heaven Prospero, who has also bought the Julio faction. So there's the other team there. Really good armies, lots of big cav, and I would imagine there's going to be some really good attacking in this game. At this very early stage of the battle, you can see the difference between Conan's unusual formation and what maybe you could call a normal formation of the Scipii army in front of him there. As you can see, the Scipii cavalry has just been sent in to try and take out one of Conan's Testudo units there. But if you notice, you can see the big difference in the formation there. Conan's formation is so kind of thick, and like I say, the units are so close together in comparison to like I just said, would be the kind of like normal Roman army formation there. So it's nice to see the contrast there of the two formations, I think, and makes it a little bit more interesting as well, I think. As you can see, there's a big cavalry build-up by the enemy team this end. As you can see, I'm not sure if all their cavalry down here, but I think probably most of it is anyway, facing Conan. Can you see that Pompey has spotted the danger and has brought his cavalry down to support Conan there? So Conan's got his 2 cavalry units plus Pompey's units there, plus I think Mystique has got some cavalry there as well. So that's good teamwork by Mystique and Pompey to come down to support their Brotherhood teammate there. As you can see, it looks like Pompey is sending in some of his Brutii cavalry to attack some Scipii infantry there. And the enemy Julii cavalry has responded, but seeing that the Brotherhood team's falling back, they've decided to fall back as well at the same time. But there's still, I think it's all the enemy cavalry are on this flank. So this place looks like it might be where the action is going to start. If you notice, Conan's pulling his infantry back at the moment. He doesn't want to be too exposed out the front there, especially with cavalry on his flank and everything like that. If he just stayed where he was, as you see, that Julii cavalry that's just moved out the picture would have probably been a big threat to his left flank there. Meanwhile, up the other end of the field, on the Brotherhood's right flank here, you can see that Brotherhood member Spartan Leonidas is having a bit of a tussle with the enemy Julii infantry opposite him. The thing is, you see, probably SL noticed that there was a lot of pressure going on Conan down on the other flank there, so SL probably decided to start a little bit of action this end to try and draw a little bit of pressure off of Conan. So that's quite a good team move there by SL. As you can see in these pictures, I'm trying to give you the panoramic view of the two armies facing each other here. So I'm trying to give you all the information I can of what's actually happening in the battle here. As you can see, one of the Julii units is in Testudo there, with and you can see the pilers going over the top. There's a close-up of the Testudo fighting Spartan Leonidas' SBQR infantry there. If you notice now, a lot of the enemy cavalry are starting to come up to this flank. If you notice, they're starting to move up to this flank here opposite Leonidas. Now, if you notice, Brotherhood member Pompey's Brutii cavalry are moving up as well, as Pompey spotted the danger here of all the cavalry moving up to Spartan Leonidas' his flank. If you notice, some of the enemy SBQR, some of the Scipii cavalry are charging into SL's SBQR infantry there, and as you can see, there's a huge amount of Julii cavalry coming up to this flank now. Now that could spell a little bit of danger for the Brotherhood team this end, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Brotherhood members started to send out reinforcements in the form of infantry to SL here. And as you can see, Pompey and Mystique are both sending infantry units up here to support SL as they have spotted the danger of that massive cavalry force facing SL there. So once again, that's good teamwork by the Brotherhood team there, watching out for each other and sending reinforcements where it's needed. So as you can see, there's a heck of a lot of Brotherhood infantry moving up there, plus they've got their cavalry there as well, in anticipation of that massive Julii cavalry hit. If you notice now that probably the Brotherhood outnumber the Julii infantry on that end of the battlefield, so it'll be interesting to see how things develop there now. If you notice, we've got some, I think Mystique has got some of her cavalry out to the right flank there in a threatening manner, and if you notice now that they're starting to move, Brotherhood members starting to move SBQR infantry units around the flank of the enemy. Now, a nice little cav charge into that open order Julii infantry. There you go. Mystique spotted it and charging her cavalry into the flank of that open order Pila shield unit there. Probably in the hope of routing that unit. But with all that cavalry poised to attack, I should imagine that the Brotherhood team are just kind of waiting for that, because with all that infantry they got there now, I should imagine that they could probably soak up a lot of that cavalry hit with all the infantry they've got there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as the game develops. Yes, I think everything is all ready to set off at any moment. At this stage of the battle, you can see that the Brotherhood team are doing a right flanking action with infantry there, because they obviously realise that they outnumber the enemy infantry at that part of the battlefield. Even though the enemy have got a massive force of cavalry, if you notice that the Brotherhood team are leading with two, if you like, columns of infantry, the SBQR infantry there. so that they would be able to absorb a hit if the cavalry decided to charge in. So that's a good tactical move by the Brotherhood team there. And plus they've got what cavalry they've got there as well, ready to back that up. If you notice, Pomp is charging into any, if you like, units that were isolated there, and just smashing them to him with his cavalry as they're retreating, just to rout them. That was a good move there by Pompey. An aggressive move as well. It's pretty good. And meanwhile, on the left flank, you can see that that great formation that Conan's got there. It looks to me like it's going to come under a lot of pressure there. I think the enemy team have seen that there's a lot of pressure on their left flank. So probably what they're thinking about doing here is possibly attacking Conan, and putting a lot of pressure on him, with the thought of maybe drawing over some of the Brotherhood team to support him. Well, as you can see, the Brotherhood team are doing this right flanking action and are being quite aggressive with the way they're attacking here. As you can see, Pompey's cavalry charging in again there. But all the time, that Julii cavalry looks very threatening there, ready to charge in. Right, and back over onto the Brotherhood left flank here, you can see now that Conan's army is under a heck of a lot of pressure here from the enemy Scipii forces there moving in on him, and also I noticed there's some Julii infantry involved there as well. So I think what Conan is going to try and do is going to try and hold there if he can, allowing his Brotherhood allies to attack and hopefully break the enemy flank on the other side from him. If he can just hold long enough to allow his force, his Brotherhood members to break that flank, then he would have done really well there, because I could see there was a heck of a lot of enemy attacking him there. As you can see, the Brotherhood right flank is starting to really kind of push the enemy back and rout some units up there. So Conan here is I suppose you could say almost like a sacrificial lamb, because he's trying to hold here, as I said earlier, just allowing the other Brotherhood teammates to be able to break the enemy flank. So that formation of his is really being tested at this moment, as you can see with all the enemy that are attacking him. As you can see here, the Julii cavalry have just charged in to counter-attack Pompey's Brutii cavalry that he just charged in there, and there's a heck of a lot of action going on over at that flank. But looking at the Brotherhood's infantry superiority on that flank, and can you see that Pompey's brought some of his Brutii infantry round behind the enemy Julii infantry there? It was a good move by him. And the pressure on that flank now is beginning to rout a lot of the Julii cavalry and infantry, if you notice now. That's a really good teamwork by the Brotherhood team on that flank.
This is no way for a leader to behave, but in battle it's...
Now if you notice here, I'm just going to pause the game a minute, just to ask a question of both RTW players and people maybe who's new to the game here. If you notice that all of Conan's infantry now are engaged, okay, they're in a fierce battle. Can you see there's 4 units of Julii infantry there? Now if you were in charge of the Julii infantry, what would you do? Would you bring all the units round here and then go into the back of Conan's engaged infantry? Or, seeing that your left flank is gradually breaking, would you take your 4 infantry up to the left to help defend your left flank? So if you were that Julii general, which would you do? Interesting. Interesting to see what he would do. So let's see what actually happens here. As you can see, Conan's infantry is withstanding a heck of an attack by the enemy team there. And if you notice, some Julii cavalry have pulled back, and it looks to me like they're going to get ready to charge into, possibly charge into Conan's infantry there. If you notice those Julii cavalry, and it looks like they're moving in to charge into Conan's infantry here. Here they come. Now, bearing in mind all his infantry is engaged, so when that smashes in, that could rout a lot of his units there.
Fear makes a home in our
and bang! See that formation of Conan's with that thick infantry there really withstood that cavalry hit. He did really well. But if you notice now that the enemy flank has been completely broken on the other side from Conan, and the Brotherhood allies are moving down now to help him. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Julii and Scipii infantry started to rout soon, with all the Brotherhood reinforcements coming down to help Conan now. There's not a lot of Conan's units left there. I think very, very few left. But he's done the job that he thought was necessary there. He held the line, where enabling his Brotherhood members to break the flank of the enemy. Now here's a massive cavalry charge here. This could finish off Conan's army here with that impact. And bang!
Your general has thrown away his life.
They finally got most of Conan's units there with that massive cavalry hit. I think some of his units have survived there, but most of them got taken out with that cavalry hit there. But that was kind of the final fling, I think, from the enemy team there, as the Brotherhood team seems to have managed to have won this battle at this stage. But that was a great tactic by the Brotherhood team there. It's really good how Conan kind of soaked up all that attack, giving time for the rest of his Brotherhood team to break that enemy flank there. So that was a really good bit of teamwork there. And any new players watching this, there's a lesson to be learned there.
The day is ours.
I would just like to say really well played to both teams there. The massive cavalry hits that were going in there, especially from the other team, was absolutely amazing, and some really great infantry moves. I saw some really great teamwork, tactical moves. It was a really great game to watch. So really well played, everybody in the game. I thought the enemy team played extremely well there, very aggressive. And some great moves, and really well done to the Brotherhood team too. I saw some really great teamwork there, moving infantry and cavalry units up to support each other, and then attack at the right time, withdraw at the right time, and be aggressive, and some great defensive work there by Conan as well, as you saw in the battle. So it was a really great battle to watch, and everybody played really well in the game. And nice kills, Pompey, for his aggressive attacks there. It's Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed the battle, and see you soon.